Filling in attendance allowance forms can be a bit daunting, so today we're going to have a look at step-by-step sort of approach of what to say and how to complete them. Regardless of how you've obtained your form, so this form here is a standard form. It doesn't have a date on the top right hand corner. If you telephone the Department of Works and Pensions, the Attendance Allowance Service Centre, they'll send you a form that has two dates up here. The top one will be the date that you contact them, and the next one will be a date that's 6 weeks later. So you've got a little bit of time to fill it in and send it back. You can still fill this form in and send it back, but the award would only be made if you were eligible and the decision was that you were eligible for the attendance allowance. It would only be dated from the date of claim, so the date that this form is received by the Department of Works and Pensions. In the same way as if you have a download a form from the internet, then exactly as it says here, if you fill the form in and send it back as soon as you can, because they'll only pay the benefit from the day that they receive the form, the date of claim. If you ring them up, they will send you a dated form, and that benefit then could be backdated to the date of claim, the date that you ring them up. It isn't backdated any further than that. So I'm going to run through this form with you because it's easier for me to record it on screen. And the first page, both versions will come with notes on how to complete the form. This one has the notes are in front of this page. This is the first page that you'll see, and it's the nuts and bolts page. It's about you, who are you, your name, address, etc., and so forth. And everyone has to complete this page at least, and we'll talk about claiming under special rules. So fill in the nuts and bolts page, nationality, etc. Do you live in Great Britain? Because you have to be present in Great Britain to claim this. About you. Then we'll move on to this, are you claiming for someone else, under the special rules page. So if you are claiming under special rules, essentially that's for people who have a short life expectancy. So the life expectancy is no longer than 6 months. What happens if you live longer than 6 months? I'm often asked. They're not going to stop the benefit to the day, but you would have to have a medical professional, sometimes the GP, maybe a consultant specialist, but a medical professional that signs the DS 1500 report, and that will go off with this form, but you tick the special rules box, which means you don't have to complete the entire form. You just do the front page, tick the special rules box, sign the declaration on the back page, and then marry it up with the DS 1500. Send them together if you can. Doesn't matter if you can't, but it's better if you can. And then the award will be very quick, within 7 days, the higher rate within 7 days. If you're not sure about the different rates or eligibility, whether you are going to be eligible for this benefit, we do have a separate video on the criteria and the qualifying periods, the eligibility to claim it. So have a look at that one. This is just running you through filling in the form. So if you're signing the form for someone else, so that means, do you have the legal capacity? Are you representing somebody else? Do you have a power of attorney? Do you have a Court of Protection deputyship, or are you a Department of Works and Pensions appointee? Now that DWP appointee can only claim and manage benefits. It can't, you can't manage any other financial decisions, but it's quite handy for claiming benefits. There's no other financial decisions or wealth to be managed. So other than that, it will be a power of attorney, whether it's an enduring power of attorney or a lasting power of attorney, or you're a Court of Protection deputy. It doesn't stand that just because you're married you can sign this form. Otherwise it's going to be the person that's actually that the form is about that will have to sign it. They have to understand that they're claiming for this benefit and that they agree that everything on the form is true and a good reflection of their care needs. So again, this page just an extension of whether you're the deputy, etc., and then your details if you're going to sign the form on somebody else's behalf. So getting into the sort of nitty-gritty of the form, the first real page here is about your illness and your disability. Now, you don't have to have been diagnosed with an illness or disability. This benefit is payable to you for the help that you can show that you need, whether that's help with your personal care or supervision. It's not about what's wrong with you, it's about the help that you need. But if you do have a diagnosis and you've had one, you know for how long, and you're on any medication, this is the page to put it. So it might be helpful to have a prescription handy when you complete it. It's a fairly lengthy form, 28 pages, but it take a little while to complete it. But if you just have a bit of quiet time and have your national insurance number, the details, your prescription lists, those handy, that will help. So here they're going to ask you about the medical professionals involved with your care. This one's for your GP and any other, whether it be a consultant, etc., and so forth. But these are the medical professionals. This page here is for anybody else. So if you have carers, if you've got any other support workers, mental health, community mental health workers, it might be that they would. This is an optional page, but it might be that you wanted to ask them to complete that. Try not to delay the sending off of the form if it's not a dated form, if with additional information from those chosen people. It might delay, it might take you outside of that, and obviously you won't, the benefit's not paid whilst they're waiting to receive the form, unless it's a dated one. So again, this is a basic signature page. If you've got any other evidence, is what they're asking for here. So any other reports, anything, have there been any hospital admissions, anything else, any, as it said, occupational therapist, so somebody from the local authority has looked at aids and adaptations around the house. That might be very helpful to build a better picture of the needs that you have at home. And that's fairly straightforward. Are you waiting for surgery, or have you had any other tests? Part of the reason for asking for that is because this benefit has a 6-month qualifying period. So it's about, have you had these needs for at least 6 months, and are you expected to have them for another 6? So if you're expecting to have any tests, any further tests, it might be that those tests, there's a considerable rehabilitation or recovery expected, and the tests will show up that it's not going to be a long-term illness, and that's the reason for asking that. Where are you living gives them a better picture of, are there stairs, etc., and so forth, i.e. potentially your mobility restrictions, are you using any aids and adaptations. All of these things help to build up a bigger picture of what you can or can't do. And really, the form is asking about what you are struggling with, the things that you find difficult, the things that you need help from another person for. They don't necessarily have to have somebody with you all the time, but is there a need for another person? People often say, well, they ask the same thing twice. Yes, that's quite true, and that's because the rate that you are awarded is determined by when you need the help. So if you need the help through the day or the night, that would be the lower rate. And if it was a day and nighttime need for care and or supervision, then that would be the higher rate. So it's asking specifically about when you need the help. This can be a difficult one when your care needs started. It's very hard often to say a specific date, and that again is around, have you had that need for at least 6 months? So we tend to just get on with it, don't we? We suffer in stoic silence, and we manage and we cope, and we do things day to day, and we're not quite always conscious of the change in the need. So very difficult to put an exact date in there. Just give them an idea, as it suggests. It could be last summer, etc. But again, this is about, have you had these needs for at least 6 months? And this is the start of the sort of criteria pages. So help with your care needs during the day. Remember, this is awarded, determined by when you need the help, day and or night. So this is about the daytime, and there'll be a dedicated area for each of those personal care tasks, if you like, those daily living tasks, there'll be a specific page dedicated to that. So getting in and out of bed, so getting out of bed in the morning. What's nighttime? Nighttime is your usual daytime, nighttime hours. So if you're an early bird and you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and you go to bed early at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, maybe earlier, that's your usual pattern. This is about what's normal for you, 6 or 7 days. Again, if you want to tell them any more about your needs through the daytime, and where they ask for specific numbers, how often each day, that can be difficult, but try not to put things like it varies or it depends, because again, it's about the frequency of the need. So is it twice or more through the day? How often do you need to go to the lab? Sometimes it might be twice, sometimes it might be four. So put in there between 2 and 4. It gives a number rather than a more vague description. So it's building up a clearer picture of what's required, of the help that's required, and just a little bit more space for you to explain on that page there. This bit's about washing, bathing, showering. Don't forget it's including prompting, reminding, encouraging. It isn't just the physical activity of going through the motions. It might be that it is a need for prompting and reminding, not just actually physically doing. Still on the daytime needs. Moving on to dressing and undressing, it might be, do you know what's appropriate? If it's raining, you need a coat. Again, that's prompting and reminding potentially rather than the physical action of putting on socks and shoes. Tying shoelaces, it might be that you could have slip-on shoes instead. It might be that you're using a gadget or an aid to put on socks or shoes. So do you need that help? Again, this is still about through the daytime, reminding to change your clothes, wearing what's appropriate to the weather, to the time of year, to whether you're indoors, outdoors, to the time of day potentially, not necessarily pajamas at 2 o'clock in the morning, unless that's your preference. Moving around indoors, so this is moving away a little bit from your personal care, but it is still to do with personal care, but it's around getting up and out of the chair, going up and down the stairs. What's the risk? There may be a risk, there may not. Are you using any aids and adaptations? Is there a significant danger, if you like? And this one, difficulty, again, this is about encouraging, prompting, reminding. Again, not necessarily always about the actual physical actions. It can be around support emotionally as well as physically, and to encouraging and reminding, if you like. Falling and stumbling, the other criteria that can be fulfilled, even if you don't have a need for help with your personal care, would be, is there a requirement for supervision? Do you wear pendant alarms? Is there a risk of falling? Have you stumbled? Have you fallen? Has there been a hospital admission? Have there been any broken bones? Is there a hospital report? Is there a risk of you falling down the stairs if you're crossing the entry to the stairway in the middle of the night to go to the lab, even with the light on? Are you lightheaded? Is there a risk of falling? Is there vertigo? Is there a stumbling, etc.? Again, it's about the risk here. It could be sight. It could be that your sight is poor. It could be that it takes a bit of time to get used from the light to the dark, etc. Have there been any other professionals involved? Are you going to the fall clinic, for example? And what aids and adaptations to the property have you done or have been done to help try and negate that as much as possible? Fairly straightforward. When did you last stumble or fall? Is there any evidence of that? And then we're moving back into the personal care, cutting up food, eating, drinking, reading labels, heating it up, making sure that you're not handling hot food. If, for example, your fingertips are numb, or you can't feel the heat, or extreme cold, there may be a risk of burn from extreme cold. All of those things. Can you see the out of date on the tins or the packets, for example, as well as the physical actions of cutting up the food and eating and drinking, or if there's a risk of choking, or there's a need for pre-digested foods or special diets, etc. and so forth. Again, this is just a box to give you a little bit more space. Taking medicines and to and back and forwards from medical treatment. This benefits around what help you need indoors. There isn't a separate component for mobilising outside or visiting GPs, etc. But again, it might demonstrate the risk of falling if you need somebody with you to accompany you to those appointments, because you know there's a risk of you going when you're walking into another room or for an appointment, etc. Can you take your medication? Do you need prompting? Do you need reminding? Do you need any help for treatments, whether it's home treatment or not? Again, don't forget the prompting, reminding, encouraging. Even if it's an electric reminder rather than an actual person, it still helps to build up a picture. And after each of these personal care pages, there'll be this little box which will give you, a chance to write a bit more if you need to. Communication. So, do you need any help from someone else, whether that be a mental health issue, anxiety, etc., learning disability site, as it suggests. It could be hearing aids, etc., remembering things. So, community, everything your body does. Bodily function, it's referred to. It's more than going to the toilet. It's everything your body does: seeing, hearing, breathing, communicating, as well as the personal care tasks and the daily living tasks. And don't forget, importantly, the need for supervision, because that's one that's often overlooked. Again, for sign language, sight, and hearing impairments. It asks you how many days a week do you have difficulty, because this benefit is around what's usual or normal. It's 6 or 7 days. They understand there's a variability. Sometimes there are medical conditions that that offer variable symptoms, and sometimes it could be for a day or two. It could be a good day, a bad day. It could be a good week, a bad week. So try and be as realistic as you can on these forms and give a clearer picture of what you are managing day to day, if you can. Again, another daily living task, personal care need, hobbies, interests, social, religious activities. What help do you need from someone else? Do you need somebody to be with you? It might be audio books, it might be listening to podcasts, radios, videos, etc. It might be it needs somebody to help you with that. It could be any manner of things, social interactions and activities, physical activities as well, swimming, etc. Just because you're living with a disability or an illness doesn't mean that you can't take part in normal activity necessarily, and that you might just want some support to help you to do that. This page is about, again, going back to supervision. Do you need someone to keep an eye on you? Usually, normally, most of the time, not sort of 10 minutes, half an hour each day, but usually, most of the time, and it's referred to as continual supervision. So all bar probably half an hour or an hour if somebody needs to pop out. Would you otherwise need somebody with you to make sure that you are safe, or that someone else around you is safe? That could be any manner of for any many reasons. And how many days? Is this mostly? Is it usually? Is it most of the time? And this is where sometimes it gets confusing, because now we're moving into the what care needs do you have during the night time. Remember, it seems like it's asking the same thing twice, and remember, it's because that's that's how they determine what the benefit is awarded for, whether the need is throughout the day and or the night. So we're asking about similar things. Your daily your personal care, maybe getting in and out of bed, getting backwards and forwards from the lav, making sure that you get back into bed okay, pulling the sheets back on. Do you need turning? Are there risks of do you have ulcers? Are there risks of ulcers? Is the the continence issue? Is there a do you have aids or continence pads? Are they likely to leak? Is there a need for changing of the laundry? Does somebody need to be awake to make sure that you've got back into bed safely? So this is purely about the night time. any therapies that you have during the night, and again, prompting and reminding and encouraging comes into that. And this is the page that's trying to find out whether or not you have supervision needs through the night. So remember, we did that through the daytime. This is now for the night time. So is there a risk of falling if you're getting up to go to the lab, for example, or if you're not aware of the time of day, whether it's day and or night? Is there, is somebody that you're caring for, or that your family member is maybe wandering, waking up at night, but getting confused, getting anxious? All of these things. Is there a risk? Are they leaving the property? What are the risks? It might be that there are other mental health issues, and the requirement for supervision, watching over, making sure that you're safe or someone else, and how many times, and that's the night times. And then this is a bigger box to say anything else, basically, whether it's day and or night, anything else in that notes area then. This section is dealing with time spent in hospital, because when you're in hospital, attendance allowance is only payable for 28 days. And then if you can let the Department of Works and Pensions know, the Attendance Allowance Service Centre know, um, if somebody is being in and out of hospital, discharged but going back in, there is a linking rules period. So just keep them informed is all that they would ask. And that's why they're asking this, have you had any time spent in the hospital and or a care home? So if you're funding your own care, living in a residential care home or a nursing home, then attendance allowance is payable. It's only if the NHS is paying for your care, or if the local authority is paying in part or full for your care, that attendance allowance wouldn't be paid. So if you're in a home and you're paying for your own care, then of course attendance allowance is still payable, and that's the reason for this page here. Constant attendance allowance is only received by relatively few people now, and again, it's you can no longer claim it. It's an old style benefit, if you like, and you will know if you're receiving constant attendance allowance. They're just asking you to tick that box. How we pay you, fairly straightforward. Your bank details, who needs paying. Remember that by default this is usually paid in with a pension. Sometimes you can request that it's separated out, so that you will see two payments into the bank. One will be for the pension, the other one for the attendance allowance if you're awarded it, but that's where they'll pay it. This statement from someone who knows you, this is an optional form. You can, somebody who knows you, so maybe you don't see the GP or haven't seen the GP for a while. The Department of Works and Pensions can write to the GP, but this is your opportunity to give them a much bigger picture of the illnesses and the disabilities that you are managing and affected by day to day, and in what relationship that person knows you. But again, extra information and all optional. And this is the declaration. So with capacity to understand that you are filling in this form, you are applying for a benefit, and that everything on the form is a true reflection of your illness, disability, and your needs, then you would sign and date this form, print the name, and if you are claiming on behalf of someone else, again, you've gone through the sections of claiming on behalf of someone else earlier. So the first page, the declaration, the special rules if you're claiming for short life expectancy. Again, if there's a short life expectancy, you do not have to qualify the 6-month qualifying period, but otherwise you would have been expected to have these needs for at least 6 months and expect them for another 6. And then tell them what documents you're going to send. If you want to send additional information, then do. And there's the often when you've ordered the form or requested the form, it will come with an addressed envelope, but there's the address to send it in case you haven't got one of those. So I hope that's helped. and that you and would encourage you to complete that form. If you need any advice or any more information, then the website's got some more information. It's carenavigators.co.uk. If you'd like us to do a benefit check or go through the forms with you, we do have care navigators who can come and complete the forms. That's not free of charge, I'm afraid. But if you'd like some help to complete the form, or you'd just like to talk it over, we can do a full care funding and benefit check with you if you would like that. Please get in touch via the website, and I hope this has been helpful for you, and good luck with filling in the form.